I was gonna say my TikTok, but TikTok is being banned, so. Hi y'all, my name is Alejandra and I'm the face behind PreMed Latina. This is my first official video to YouTube, which I'm kind of excited about. I wanted to do a little introduction about me and some background just so you know who I am and what the purpose is of this channel. So I'll go ahead and start with a little introduction and then I'll move into some of the resources and videos that I'll be sharing on this channel. My name is Alejandra. I was born in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico and I kind of moved around quite a bit during my childhood. I've lived all over the place in Los Angeles, in New Mexico, in Arizona, in Texas for a little bit. I also lived in a bunch of different places in Mexico. So I lived in like Monterrey, in Bucerias, which is also very close to Puerto Vallarta. I've lived in Morelia, which is close to Mexico City. So kind of a little bit of everywhere. I officially moved to the United States when I was 13, 14 years old, around that time frame, so kind of like middle school time. I was raised by a single mom who I love to death, and I have a younger sister who is currently in college at the same institution that I went to, which is kind of cool. I got my bachelor's degree from Colorado State University and I majored in biomedical sciences and minored in ethnic studies. And now I'm in my second gap year before applying to medical school this upcoming cycle. And I work for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital as a postbac research fellow. As far as the goals and videos that I'll be uploading to this channel, I really want to share my journey with you all and be super transparent so that way you all can kind of like follow along and use some of the resources that I have built out throughout my journey, and hopefully they help you out with yours. I'm hoping to film quite a variety of different videos of my pre-med journey so far, and that includes like MCAT videos and how I studied, a bunch of videos on the MCAT accommodations process and how to get MCAT accommodations as a person with a disability. I'll also be filming some content on how I prepared, or like what I did during my undergraduate to kind of prepare for medical school. So like all the variety of experiences that I did and like how you can apply to do the same experiences. And as far as like the research side of things goes, I would love to post videos on my research so far, how you all can get involved in research, and maybe some videos going into the process of what it's like to do research. So tips and tricks that I've kind of like gathered along the way, and hopefully they help you out in your research journey as well. I'd also love to post some like lifestyle content on here, as well as like my hobbies, so like baking, painting, things like that. I initially started on Instagram and I asked you all to ask me some questions, so I'll be getting into those now. And to everyone who asked me a question, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Alright, so the first question, starting out strong, what are some things I did in undergrad to make myself a competitive applicant? This is honestly a really good question because there's really no wrong way to answer this, and there's kind of a variety of experiences that I think that made me a strong applicant. I guess I'll start out by saying that I tried to do experiences that I loved and that really resonated with my reasons for wanting to become a physician, which I'll get into in a little bit. So I always sought out experiences that I was passionate about, experiences that resonated with me, and experiences that I felt I would grow from and contribute to my community the most in. And I recommend that in your undergraduate journey you do the same. So that'll look a little bit different for everyone. But as far as my experiences go, I did get started with research relatively early on in my undergraduate career. I started out in wet labs, which I was not a fan of at all, but I kept trying out different types of wet labs. So like, I think I started out in a nutrition lab and then moved to like a biochemistry lab, and then somehow ended up in like neuroscience and then cardiology, because I kept giving them a try thinking that something would like click and eventually I would like what I was doing, but it did not for me. And then I transitioned into a dry lab, which is focused on global health, which I absolutely love. So if you are currently going through like the research process and you're trying to find something that you like, keep trying until you find something that you like. I guess this is my long-winded way of saying find research that you enjoy doing, not just because you feel obligated to do research. I think the other advice that I would give is to also find clinical opportunities in your area that you are passionate about and that you enjoy. And this can range from volunteering all the way to getting paid for those experiences. For me personally, I volunteered with hospice, which was a really great way to give back to my community, especially since my grandfather was initially in hospice and he did that process. And it was very moving to see the volunteers that worked with him, and that really gave him like that peace of mind towards the end. So volunteering with hospice was kind of my way of doing the same for someone else's loved one. As far as like paid clinical experiences go, you can probably find a variety. I personally worked as a certified nursing assistant for a little bit, which was kind of tied to that hospice experience. My grandpa was also in a nursing home towards like his final months, and all of the certified nursing assistants that worked with him were absolutely lovely people, and I felt like I also wanted to contribute that support and healthcare to other folks' grandparents and loved ones. So that's kind of why I did the certified nursing assistant role. As far as like other clinical experiences go, I really enjoyed working as a scribe in a family medicine clinic. That was by far such an eye-opening experience into like the behind the scenes work of what physicians go through and what like level of care they provide for their patients, even when their patients aren't like right there in front of them. So I would highly recommend that experience if you're looking for like a clinical experience that is paid. I think I touched on like the main three that I would recommend that you do in undergrad. So the three would be research experience, clinical experience, as well as like some type of community involvement. And you can do those with the communities that you're most passionate about serving, like the community in your area, or maybe the specific ethnic or cultural group that you're a part of. That's what I personally did. Okay, the next question, which I kind of answered in the first question, is did I get involved in research as an undergraduate? If so, how did I go about doing it? So initially, I kind of did the thing that all pre-meds do, where they just randomly cold email professors. And I think I emailed probably like 30 to 40 different professors whose like research sounded interesting to me at the time. And I heard back from like 2 or 3 and volunteered in their lab for a little bit, realized that I wasn't passionate about it, and then tried something else. As far as like other ways to get involved in undergraduate research, I would highly recommend applying to like research or applying to summer research programs. I can share a few in my description that I personally applied to and I somewhat enjoyed. And I can also share the Pediatric Oncology education program, which was a really great summer research experience that I would recommend to literally like anyone if they're interested in research. I think those were the 2 main ways that I got involved in research during undergrad. So cold emailing professors, as well as trying out different summer research experiences. The next question is if I'm going to vlog. Yeah, I'd say a little bit. There'll be a little bit of vlogging, especially when I'm like traveling for my work, and also maybe like behind the scenes of my life. So yeah, I'll be vlogging a little bit on this channel. And the next question is how I manage to study on days I just don't feel like studying. On days when I don't feel like studying, I try to ask myself why that is. And if it's for like a valid reason, as far as like maybe I haven't given myself a break in a long time, maybe I'm just feeling like a little bit burnt out or tired, I'll try to go ahead and take some time off during that day and do something that recharges me and refuels me. So for me personally, that's like anything artistic, like painting or baking, or just something to take my mind off of it that will help me feel a little bit like more like myself. And then in order to get myself motivated to study, I always try to start with like a smaller task. So let's say if the task was to read an entire chapter, I'll try starting with like a small task and maybe only working for like 15 minutes. So reading like 3 pages of the whole chapter, and then moving into like a 5-minute break after that, and then trying to come back to it and studying for a little bit longer. So like first time was 15 minutes, the second time is like, I don't know, 30 minutes. So by like incrementing the amount of time that I'm studying by little by little, I'll feel more motivated to actually study more. I think another thing that I do when I'm not feeling motivated to study is also reminding myself of my why and why I'm studying in the first place. Usually when I do that, I'll like come back to it and I'll feel like more rejuvenated in why I'm studying and the reason why I'm doing so. But I'm not going to deny the fact that sometimes I just need a break and I just need to not study, which is fine too. The next question is, what type of research am I working on? So like I mentioned, I'm currently working with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital as a postbac research fellow. This research is very global public health oriented. Currently, I work on a quality improvement project across Latin America, which is known as Pediatric Early Warning Systems. And they're like the mnemonic, or like the shortened, not mnemonic, the shortened version of it is called PEWS, the Pediatric Early Warning Systems, aka PEWS. And this is basically a system that doctors and nurses implement within their hospital. So the system comes with like a scoring tool as well as an algorithm. And the scoring tool is based off of a variety of different symptoms. Based off of these symptoms, the child is then like scored. And then based off of this score, they go to a certain place in the algorithm. So in the algorithm, there's like red, yellow, and green. If they're green, they're good. They can just continue with their normal checkups and check-ins. If they're yellow, then they probably have to escalate care a bit. And then if they're red, that probably means that they should be admitted to the pediatric ICU. So that is the system that I work with. What my research is specifically on is studying the implementation of the system in Latin American hospitals and how different hospitals modify the system to their local context, as well as how the system is sustained throughout time within their specific center. So that's like a general overview of all the research, or like the main focus of my research. But overall, I would say that I mainly work on quality improvement projects that are implemented globally, specifically in Latin America, but also in other places around the globe as well. I will probably do a separate video talking about this just because it deserves more time than what I just allocated to it right now. The next one isn't really a question, it's more of a comment. Please show us your daily, weekly MCAT study schedule. I'll go ahead and link that in the description of this video. I'm more than happy to share it. You can find it pretty much on all of my platforms if you go to the link in my bio. It's completely free. You can 100% use it, ask me questions about it, whatever you need, I'm here. And I'll probably do a separate video on that one too, just going into a little bit more and maybe answering some of y'all's questions on it. So hopefully this gave you all some insight as to who I am and why I wanted to get this YouTube channel started. Make sure you like this video for more. Follow me on all of my platforms. I'll link my Instagram, I was gonna say my TikTok, but TikTok is being banned. So I'll link my Instagram as well as my other socials in the description of this video. And you're more than welcome to follow along for more insights, more tips and tricks on this pre-med journey. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. All right, so that's all for today. You'll see me in my next video. All right, bye y'all.